Hi, today we're celebrating Crescent Creations' new website with a fun video hop. My name is Lauren, and thanks for joining me in my craft room today. I'm actually going to start off on my desktop or my laptop, and I'm using Crescent Creations' Appreciate You digital stamp set. So I'm going to share with you how I use Pages, which is kind of the Word document program that comes on a Mac. It's just preloaded kind of thing. I don't really use my computer outside of arts and crafts kinds of things, so I don't really have any fancy programs. This is just what I have already on my computer. And I'm just copying and pasting and then cropping the images and sentiments that I want to use from this stamp set. So I'm imagining kind of putting together a desk for a teacher with a whiteboard and a plant, maybe some books, a little apple. So I am just going through and cropping, like I said, the different images. And I am just going to set them aside and wait until I'm all done cropping. I feel like I'm going to say that word a lot right now. All of my images, and once I'm happy with all of the ones that I have, I'm going to start building it on my program, kind of like I would if I had already stamped and die cut these images out. I would be doing like a dry run and just making sure I have what I need and where I like it. So I'm going to actually do all of that here on my laptop. So I'm still going around and kind of debating what I want to do. And so far, I was going to do a computer, and then I decided last minute, no, let's just go with the desk as I have it. So now, in order to simulate a card, I'm just taking a solid color square and I'm sizing it to be an A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I thought, well, no, I'm gonna probably want some background color, like pattern paper, behind my final image. So I'm gonna adjust that to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Yes, a 1/2 inch off on each side. Now I'm gonna play with the placement and sizing of all of my images. So again, just like I would if these were already cut out and I had them on my desk, I'm just playing and moving and resizing until I like how my layout is going. So I decide that I think everything is going to be up on the desk and I want my sentiment to be on the whiteboard behind the teacher's desk. So I have the word teacher, and then I'm going to also use the sentiment, you are the best. So I'm going to crop down that sentiment that you might have saw just a second ago. After I finished adding in this apple, I thought just it needed a little more on my desk. So now I'm going to crop down that sentiment. You are the best. I love that you can totally customize your images and your sentiments when you use digital stamps. So here I am just playing with my sizing, and I'm going to align these together so that way my sentiment will be centered. And then I'm going to go ahead and place that inside of my whiteboard in the background. I also want to make sure that my sentiment, my whiteboard, and my desk are all centered to each other, and that way when I print this out, everything will be nice and in place how I want it. And the nice thing too is you can create a flat card or dimension when using digital stamps. So for this card, I'm going to actually go with a flat card, so that's why I am layering everything before I print. And once I'm happy with my layout, I'm going to actually copy and paste so I have 4 different images in case something happens with my printer or I mess up with my coloring or cutting or anything. I have 4 chances to have this image. So I went ahead and printed it out, and then I used one of my rectangle dies to die cut it out. It's by Fawn and has this really cute stitching along the edge. And now I'm going to use my alcohol markers and color in my image. So I did print this out on some kind of smooth cardstock that is really great for blending. So it's another reason why I wanted to print out extras, just in case my printing on the paper was a little too smooth and my image didn't come out how I wanted it. So after I'm done with my wood grain look for my whiteboard and my desk, I want to create kind of a terracotta colored pot. So I'm just switching between tan colors and even more of a coral color to blend those together and create a nice kind of orangey brown pot for my plant. And once I'm done with that blending, I'm going to get out some greens and move on to my fern style plant. I'm not really sure what kind of plant that is, but we'll go with a probably low maintenance plant because, teachers are going to be very busy. Maybe it's a silk plant. We'll go with a silk plant because that's the kind of plant that I would have because I am terrible at watering plants. Okay, so I'm blending between a light and a dark just to give my plant here some color and fun. And then after that, we are going to color in our apple. And of course, I'm going to go with a classic red apple. So I'm going to bring out my dark reds as well as my coral colors to color in that apple. And since I am ahead of my coloring, I wanted to talk a little bit about the hop. I'm really excited for Neenah and her Crescent Creation digital stamps to go from Etsy to her full-fledged store, where you can find not only these digital stamps, but lots of awesome shaker bits for shaker cards and actually other product companies that you can have hands-on stamps and dies from. So really exciting for Crescent Creations and the future of their company. So now I am going to be coloring in the word teacher as well as my stacks of books here, just going in a rainbow color order because it's pretty and it's going to match the pattern paper that I'm going to pull out in just a minute. And for the hop, you can find more information down below, such as the giveaway, as well as the next person in the hop. It is a mix of YouTube and blog posts, so make sure you're following those links and going from person to person for chances to win the awesome prizes. And again, all of that info will be down below in my description. Okay, so now that all my coloring is done, I did cut the desk of one of my extra pieces and sprayed some pixie spray behind it and created a mask because I'm going to distress on my floor in my scene here. I'm using some mint repositional tape to be that border, and I had originally wanted to go with brown, but I thought gray would look better. I don't know. I didn't want it to be too dark. I wanted it to be a bright card. So I went with my Pumice Stone Distress Oxide for my ground of my card, and now I can peel it up and my little scene is complete. So easy, and it was so fun to put together. So now we're going to work on our background. I'm using some plaid paper from Fawn and using another rectangle stitch die to cut that out. I also noticed that my printer probably needs some new ink, and there was a couple spots where I just didn't like that my printer didn't print all the way, so I just grabbed my Tombow black pen to help fill in a couple of those lines. So now I'm ready to glue everything together. I also cut out an A2 piece of craft paper, and I have a nice sturdy card base out of some white Neenah cardstock. I am going to use my super strong sticky glue to glue my papers together. I'm going to glue down my craft paper directly to my card base, and because they are both A2 size, I'm just going to use the corner of my MISTI to help me line up everything. And I noticed that I actually have a little bit of excess paper, so I'm just going to grab my little mini guillotine trimmer and trim off the excess of that craft paper so it's nice and flush with the edge of my card. Now for my plaid paper, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my sticky adhesive on the back of my paper and center that to my card base. I really love this plaid paper. I actually have the original release of the 6x6 pad. I know Fawn has done a remix version, but I hoard paper, so I still have the original. And now for my image, I really wanted to pop it up, so I'm just going to use this scrap piece of foam adhesive, and I cut it down to fit perfectly behind my white rectangle. I'm going to peel off the release paper and center that onto my card. It's really easy, and I know I said it was flat. I do have some dimension, but my image is flat. Everything with dimension on my image was done digitally. And now I thought it would be fun because Crescent Creation has awesome embellishments in their shop to use these adorable fall leaves clay bits, and I just took one of every color and sprinkled it around my card and just used some wet glue to put those in place. And here is my final card. I think it's so cute and I have the perfect person to send it to. I'm really excited again for the Crescent Creation store release, and we really hope you'll hop along and have fun. Thanks again for watching. I hope you'll click like and subscribe if you're new, and have a wonderful day.